My name is Coffee Way Too Hot Rhapsody, and welcome back to Slay the Spire. I'll be playing the Defect on Ascension 16 this episode. Yikes. All of those are incredibly underwhelming responses. Alright, so I can get 2 midline upgrades, 2 shops if I go on the right at the start here and then merge to the left. That does seem like the best path that we have. It doesn't seem to have too much of an impact on our choice here. I'll just take the 7 max HP. Alright, just had to turn the audio down slightly on my side. 3 attacks to the front liner actually prevents 6 damage, whereas using a defend only prevents 5. So it could be argued I did the responsible thing there. It could also be argued that I didn't. Who's to say? Oh, I love White Noise as just a card by itself. I originally, like on first glance, looked at that card and I was like, this card is overpowered. I kind of stand by that. Do I want the multicast? Yeah. Hell, I'll even take the zap as well. I stand by it based on the calculation that I did at the time, which is I cannot remember the numbers for it, so you'll have to forgive me on that front. But there's a certain amount of results from it that you never want to see, a certain amount of results from it that you always want to see, and another amount of results that you sometimes want to see. And on the basis of those, on the balance of those at the very least, we'll take a defragment here, hell yes. On the balance of those, things tended to end up positive for the player. Hell yeah, we get to get defragment as well as another zap, as well as whatever White Noise generates out before we wake up the enemy. Oh, 2 zaps. Right, I forgot about that. Awesome. Awesome power here. So we'll prioritize defense. Because a lot of the rest of the damage is dealing itself. Sweet. As much as I wanted to fully defend that turn, I felt like that was our best opportunity at making sure that we had the kill next turn. Meat on the bone, if our HP is at or below 50% at the end of combat, heal for 12 HP. I'll take the static discharge, but I'm not pleased about it. Definitely want it upgraded as soon as possible, though. That and White Noise and both of the zaps in our deck, and gosh, we have a lot that we actually want upgraded as soon as possible. I'd love to just defend that turn, but I don't want to cause myself to end up dying. Sweet. Preserved Insect. Enemies in elite combats have 25% less HP, as well as a fire potion. That's going to help me finish off said lower HP elites. Ancient Tea Set. Whenever you enter a rest site, start the next combat with 2 extra energy. Totally okay with that. Now, we've obviously got the upgrade campsite ahead of us. Obviously should have done that in the other order. Entirely my bad. Oh. What awful luck. At the very least, we have the meat on the bones, so we get to recover from those kinds of things a little more commonly than people might otherwise expect. Eviscerated and chopped by giant claws, so that means the Lagavulin. I'm okay with the Lagavulin. Never mind, we managed to get the relic in the first roll, so we get Happy Flower every 3 turns, gain an energy. The defragment should probably be our first upgrade, then each of the zaps. Omamori, negate the next curses you obtain. Excellent. There's a bunch of curses available on the next floor. I want the awful one literally just to bring back the zaps, but that's such a poor reason to take it. Let us just remove a garbage card from the deck. So this deck still does not really have an identity. Its identity is, I would like to deal enough damage to not die this floor, please. Which is just a poor identity. Sweet. Alright, so even if I double defend here, we don't manage to kill the Acid Slime. We also don't manage to defend against it. So I need to multicast and hope that we hit the Acid Slime in the backline enough times, which we don't. That's fine, we're dead. Next run. Can't imagine that we hit the front liner 3 times there, but we did. Hell yes, well done us. Enemies in your next 3 combats have 1 HP. Can snipe out maybe 1 elite. No, actually no elites that way. Definitely remove 2 cards then. After removing 2 cards, I really prefer to go for 2 upgrades as soon as possible, so that I can hit the upgrade on the dual cast and the zap, so that they are actually consistently playable, rather than just playable. I'll 2 cost first. Managed to end up preventing 6 damage there. Not awful. Not great, but not awful either. And sometimes it's worth settling. Fine. I mean, literally, if Claw is going to be the first card offered to me after I removed 2 cards from my deck, yeah. I'll take it. My goal at this point is to make every card in this deck Claw. Ooh, great hits on the lightning there. Thank you. Really not interested into the fact that most of our enemies are dealing a ridiculous amount of damage to us easily. Alright, I'm taking a rip and tear here, literally just to help me through the upcoming elites. We'll upgrade Zap because Dual Cast was already upgraded by the prior event. Alright, well, this is the right situation to be using the explosive potion in. But I'm almost certain I'm dead this turn. Yep, we're dead. Rough. So I was very much hoping that after I picked up that Claw, I would be able to pick up some defensive card in the next couple card choices. Didn't manage to get that, ended up on a deadline with an elite. Life just becomes rough in said scenario. I take the max HP here because there's no chance of sniping out an elite for free. More than happy with taking 1 damage to end up with this fight being a perfect. Hell yes. Doom and Gloom is the powerful early offensive option we've been looking for. We'll take the Sapphire Key over the Darkstone Periapt there, because the Darkstone Periapt itself is obviously awful. The Doom and Gloom got upgraded here. Now, unfortunately, we're weakened, so I managed to hit each of the targets here just so that when I do draw Doom and Gloom, it was going to be lethal at each of them. That said, turned out not to be necessary. I'd have loved to play Doom and Gloom there. Extremely life goals. Storm Bottled Lightning Hologram. We'll take Hologram. It bringing back the darkness in particular would be very powerful for us. I don't like that we had attacks in our opening hand there. Having a bunch of, skills in our opening hand would have been better. Simply because it makes our next turns a lot simpler. Old Coin, upon pickup, gain 300 gold. Do like that. Glacier, as well as Bias Cognition. We'll take the Glacier in the early game. Thank you, Doom and Gloom, for being incredible. Single copy of Sunder per deck, I feel, is actually worthwhile. Centennial Puzzle, the first time you lose HP each combat, draw 3 cards. The other option here was Zap, Hologram, Zap in order to get the Dark Orb to the front line. But yes, I felt like Glacier would be able to do that by itself. What an easy kill. Just have to make sure I don't take damage this turn, because in the next 2 turns, I know that I have lethal. Regal Pillow, whenever you rest, heal an additional 15 HP. It's early enough that I'm happy to pick up Genetic Algorithm there. Sling of Courage. Each elite combat will start with 2 extra not HP, sorry, strength. I really want Self-Repair Anchor and Sling of Courage. Hell, I'll even take Chill. We'll also upgrade Chill to be innate. That's going to be incredibly important next floor, not necessarily this floor. Fine. Getting that Dark Orb to start gestating as soon as possible is incredibly important in this combat. Using it way earlier than you intend, also incredibly important. Right. Sorry, I thought the strike was still 1 cost, so I thought I'd finished out my energy for that turn. Neat. Prayer Wheel, normal enemies drop an additional card reward, as well as nothing. We'll drop probably the Smoke Bomb, actually, in order to get the Skill Potion here. Auto Shields for a strike is totally fine with us. We'll upgrade the Genetic Algorithm so that it starts growing faster. It's already at the point where I'm like, okay. Come on, Dark Orb Generator, hell yeah. Again, miscounted my energy. Let's go charge battery, hologram charge battery. That is going to make it easier for us to keep a track on our energy because we'll have so much of it that we'll just feel bad not to use all of it well. Still need to let said Dark Orb gestate. Easy done. Alright. It's important to get the Glacier out this turn just because the enemy has the multi-attack upcoming next turn. And while I'm okay with taking damage, I'm not okay with taking that much of it. Come on, final Dark Orb. I've tried to learn from my mistakes of letting... God, I had an extra energy that turn again. I've tried to learn from my mistakes of letting Dark Orbs gestate for too long. And I'm trying to cycle them now much more quickly than I otherwise might. So as it turns out, if I used the liquid bronze at the very start of that fight, we would have been fine there. Sadly, I thought we weren't going to need that. Alright, Prayer Wheel, normal enemies drop an additional card reward. There are a lot of better results that we could have gotten from that. I'm slightly saddened we didn't get any of those. This'll have to do in the interim at the very least, though. The longer this fight goes on, the far better off we are. Neat. Fine, I'll take a Storm in the early game. I still want the power deck. Not a power deck. We've had those before. I want the power deck. The quintessential power deck. Take an early copy of Chaos here. I don't usually do that. Easy. End up taking 1 damage, but I should set myself up for an easy time through the rest of the fight. If I don't draw lethal, I'll draw enough defense to be okay. Until I draw lethal. Take a Sunder here just to help me through the upcoming elites. Which I'll also upgrade. 8 more damage on a single card? I mean, come on. How can you turn that down? Beam Cell is interesting. It's just whether or not I can afford to include it in this deck. I'll take it. Predicated on the idea that I will get it on the same turn as Sunder at least semi-regularly. As it turns out, that predication might be faulty. Yep, I should have hit 1 more time last turn. I ended up taking 10 more damage than I needed to because I ended up drawing Sunder in the next hand. Juzu Bracelet, normal enemy encounters are no longer encountered in question mark rooms, as well as a buffer. Thank you very much. Anger, start each combat with 10 block. Excellent, that will help us retain our buffer. More than happy to use the buffer there because I know that my next hand will have dual cast, which will guarantee the lethal. No need for any of those, though. Hopefully I get 2 defends next turn, although that is, yeah, not exactly extremely likely, unfortunately. Sweet. So we'll Hyper Beam and then Sunder a target for an insta-kill. Take no damage this turn, but set myself up for easy kills the turn after. Come on, lethal. That'll do it. Lantern. At the start of each combat, gain additional energy as well as Seek. Thank you very much. Buffer needs to be upgraded. Hell. We'll even take the 21 HP from that so that we can get another upgrade in the next space. Just kill you for free. And buffer zap. Is there anything I can pull out? 0 cost. There isn't, but I can pull out the Ascender's Bane and have that exhaust this turn. Considering how short this fight is going to be, this is a totally viable thing to do. The Storm has already turned out to be a poor solution because I found no other power cards worth playing in the interim. Alright. Take a single copy of Hologram there. And upgrade our Zap. I would not be extremely surprised if this boss killed us. Alright. Generating that Darkness Orb in the first turn is the closest thing that I could say to the possibility of saving us here. We do just need to let it gestate for a while, but we also need to deal damage external to that. Because if we've learned anything recently, it's that just letting a Dark Orb gestate ain't enough. I'd love to use Sunder this turn, but I'd also like to survive. For some reason, I'm more attached to that. Definitely dead, even if I defended. We'll give this exactly one last go here. Lose all gold to remove 2 cards. Do love that option. There's a 3 elite path, but only has 1 upgrade. It also has an early shot, which we're disincentivized to take. Courtesy of the lose all gold option we just took. Alright, we'll take a 3 elite path that actually just has a bunch of early combats. I typically try and prioritize question marks and shops over early combats, but in this specific scenario, I'm willing to take a risk. The idea being that if I have enough of these combats, maybe I will find a card that is worth playing. Capacitor, gain 2 orb slots. As much as I want the self-repair there, Capacitor allows for a lot of things that self-repair doesn't necessarily allow for. Right, easy kill. It's early enough that I'm happy to take Genetic Algorithm. I'd like to not upgrade it, but if that's in the cards, that's in the cards. There's enough other things that I feel are more prominent early upgrades. Still hoping to make sure that I play a genetic algorithm before we finish out this at all. Got him. Take a single copy of Sweeping Beam as just a effective AoE. Sweeping Beam super useful here. Thank you very much, Sweeping Beam, for turning up in the right turn. Pop the underwhelming genetic algorithm. Just because it has to be. I do really, really, really like a reinforced body early. It oftentimes feels like without that, you are completely helpless to early, particularly powerful attacks. As it turns out, I should have used the strength potion before I did any of those attacks. I wasn't thinking about the fact. Yikes. It's looking like we're probably screwed. Yeah. So having a deck that was super skill heavy by that point was really, really poor for us. So we'd removed one strike beforehand at the previous event and hadn't included any attacks save for the Sweeping Beam, which did the same damage as a strike. So basically, we could have known that this position, should it be the Gremlin Knob in particular, was pretty likely to kill us. So again, it's a situation of just before I go into an elite room, I need to think, okay, what elite could this be? If it could be this elite, do I win or do I lose against that elite with my current predicted value of my deck? In this circumstance, I was just very, very much hoping that, especially because it's the, fourth run in an episode, that we would end up with an elite that we would be capable against, and then by the time we get to the next elite, we would have had an opportunity to pick up an aggressive card that I would have liked. The only way that we would have survived against that Gremlin Knob in particular would have been the earlier pickup where we took something, I think it was Reinforced Body over Sunder. Had we have taken Sunder, we would have been in a much better position there. For the moment, though, my name has been Rhapsody. The name of the game has been Slay the Spire. Hopefully you've been enjoying yourselves, and hopefully we'll see you next time where we might actually win.